Hello again, Trello fans. This is part 2 of how to use Trello. Part 1 covered the basics, but we are far from basic users of Trello now. We are cooking on gas, as they say. So this is about how to use the LU Takes on Corona Trello boards specifically, but obviously some of these skills will transfer onto if you're using other Trello boards as well. So to confirm, this is as a whole, this is the board, the LU Takes on Corona board in its entirety. A Trello board is made up of multiple lists, so we have announcements, ideas for new services, items we can share on social media, etc. These are lists. Lists are then made up of cards, so this is a card, this is a card, this is a card, this is a card, this is a card. Similarly, this is a card, this is a card, this is a card, and so on. You have multiple lists made up of multiple cards on a single board. So because our board is being so well used, which is excellent, and loads of people are sharing their ideas, loads of people are adding comments, loads of people are asking questions, that's all really great. But it can mean that when you first log in, it can feel quite overwhelming. So what I'm going to share with you now are a couple of tips that can help you feel like you've got more of a handle on what's going on Trello, and particularly to keep keep a closer eye on the things that are of particular interest to you. So the first one of these that you can do is become a member of a card. So to become a member of a card, you will look like these. So you can see here that this is my face, and then there are multiple other initials of people that are also members of the card. These circles mean they're members. Now what being a member of the card does means that it's saying, I am particularly interested in this discussion and I want you to tell me, Trello, anytime that's updated. So that's not by pinging me an email. I don't want loads of emails pinged to me, but it means when I log in, flag with me how much has changed. So you can see here, there's a little red bell with a number 6 on it. Now what that means is, because I'm a member of the card, it has flagged that 6 things have changed since I last logged into Trello on that card specifically. So that means I can focus on that card, go and see what's changed, and that's fine. Of course, things may have also changed, for example, on this card, but it's not flagging it to me because I'm not a member. You can see my face doesn't appear here. So if you've got cards you're particularly interested in, become a member of them. To do that, let's say I want to become a member of the Mama G card. Open the card and just click join up the top here. You'll see your name, or your picture and your initials will come up here, and you are a member of that card. If you get to the point where you're no longer interested in being a member, maybe you've got all the information you need and you're just up and running, you can remove yourself by left clicking on yourself and click remove from card, which I am going to do. Not that I'm not interested in Mama G, just not what I'm interested in at the moment. So you can see here that I've got my alert, as we've said, on book track, and if we scroll down, there'll be alerts on other ones. So here I'm also a member and I've got an alert to say something's changed there. Bounce and Rhyme, I'm a member, I've got an alert there. But see here also, I'm a member of Storytime. There's been no changes since I was last in, so there's no alert. So it just really helps you focus on the things that have changed since you were last in. The other thing you can do on cards is to watch them. So let's look at Lego challenges. So if I had an interest in this but didn't want to necessarily be alerted, it was just something that if something fundamental changes to it, so for example, if there was a due date placed on it or it was going to get archived, then I can choose watch and that would be flagged to me. Watch is down the right hand side of the card and you just click on watch. There'll be a green tick to say you're watching, and then if we go out of the card, rather than my face appearing, there's a little watching eye that just appears in the bottom left. Now watching really doesn't do an awful lot, so if you do want those alerts to come up, you want to become a member of the card. There's no limit to the number of cards you can become a member of, but obviously you'll just get alerted to everything that's changing if you're a member. In the background of Trello, I'm doing quite a bit of housekeeping on this Trello board, trying to reduce duplication, merging cards where people are having similar conversations in different places. But what we're also doing is we're using labels to flag those things that are getting a lot of discussion or that have been updated regularly and have been updated in the last week. That's what these colours are. You can see the green and the red, there's orange, there's purple over here. And these are called labels. Now, it doesn't just have to be me that puts on labels, so if you've got something that you need to flag, absolutely you can do that either on an existing card or on a new card that you create. Let me show you how to do a label. So, if you click on the card, you get this option down the right hand side for labels. And here you can see all the labels that we are using on this board only. So for example, we've got high interest priority, medium interest priority. Now these two are not automatically generated, but they're ones where I can see that there's a lot of discussion going on, multiple libraries are involved. So where there's a lot of discussion or a fair amount of discussion, we'll be allocating one of those labels to it, and that might be of interest to you. If you then see a topic is being discussed an awful lot, it might be something you want to get involved in as well. A good example of this at the moment is the one around socially isolated library users and phoning them. That's getting a lot of discussion, so that's moved up into a high priority, high interest, red labelled card. We've also got the blue label, awaiting the end of lockdown. So this is for some of the ideas that went on the board very early, but require us to have staff in the buildings. So at the moment we've labelled them. This would be things, an example would be book delivery. So at the moment that's not an option, but we're keeping hold of it as an idea for if that becomes an option in the future. We've also got this purple label, needs someone to lead. So this is often where there is a lot of people having a conversation about a topic. So an example would be the book track card in its early days and how we would deliver book track or book quest in this current digital space. And there was lots of discussion, but we needed somebody to pull it together, somebody to do the checks around safeguarding, somebody to just make sure we had a process that we were all comfortable with. So we put this label on to say, we need somebody to lead this. And then that's a prompt to you, if you're then interested in that subject, that you might want to put your hand up and say, I'll lead this, I'll pull all the conversation together. In the book track example, it was Xanthi from Ottery, and she did that. And then we just removed the label because then we've got somebody leading on it. The yellow label, help please. So this is if you add something on there that you need some help on. So it might be that you've asked a question. Perhaps we had quite a few questions about copyright in the early days around Bounce and Rhyme and Storytime. Or if you add something on there about you want some help on using Twitter or using Zoom or using Trello, you can create a card, flag it with help please, and then anybody that goes on there can just check those cards that someone needs help and perhaps answer that help. Those questions haven't got to be digital ones. It might be, can somebody help me with some topics we might discuss in a reading group? Anything. And that's just a way of flagging it to say, I'd like some help on this. And then the top one is an interesting one for card updated in last week. Again, this is not an auto-generated label. We are manually adding that. But it's most useful if I close this and take you into items we can share on social media. It's most useful there because there's multiple cards that have got multiple links as comments within them, and you might lose which ones have had things added to them recently. So having a green label really just highlights that there are things on there that have happened in the last week that you might be interested in. Let me show you, for example, the best example of this is the resources from other organisations and people that we can share. This is a great card that's getting a lot of traction, and people are sharing loads of links to different things going on in other organisations that might be of interest to our users. So it's got card updated in the last week because people have added stuff in the last week, and it's high interest and priority because lots of people are talking about it. You can see there's some attachments added, and then you can see people. So Julie's added on about 3D animals. We've had Mark Norman putting on about drawing classes. Colin has added stuff. Tabitha's added stuff about fake news. Colin's added stuff about physical activity that's going on other places. Sue's added stuff around theatre groups. So it's absolutely anything you find out in the wider world but you think that might be of interest to library users. Add it onto that card, and then just make sure that the green label is showing so other people know that there's new stuff on there. So in summary, if you've got cards you're really interested in, make yourself a member of them. And we do that by clicking and clicking. Join would be up here if I wasn't a member. And if you're using the labels, look for things that have got red labels on because they're getting a lot of traction. People are doing a lot of talking about them, or green labels that show they've been updated in the last week. If you need a recap of the explanation of the colours being used, there's a card up here in the announcements. As always, if you've got any questions, let me know and I'll try and cover them in another video. Thanks for listening.